Tonight in 7 News, a new COVID threat in Melbourne's southeast. Special live coverage. The frantic mission to track and control a new cluster. Rule-breaking homes linked to 34 cases as infections surge again. Gary Ablett Sr goes public with an extraordinary COVID message for Victorians. The mystery disappearance of 2 campers. Police reveal new theories on what happened. A former AFL high flyer opens up on a landmark $1 million concussion payout. And the comeback dream is over for Majak Daw, delisted in a brutal day of AFL sackings.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Mike Amor starts now.
Good evening. Health authorities are racing to stamp out a COVID outbreak in Melbourne's southeast, where families from 5 houses are being accused of breaking lockdown restrictions and unleashing a new cluster. It wasn't the only bad news. After a day of hope, COVID infections surged again, up to 45 and 5 more deaths. Authorities are running another testing blitz. We have live reports coming up. Blake Johnson begins our coverage.
Containing the cases in Casey. This is how the Health Department fires up against coronavirus in Melbourne's southeast.
And open your mouth.
Extra pop-up sites, 12 in total, including 2 at Dandenong markets that go online today. The race to stop a cluster that began with 1 case on September 4. It spread because of banned family visits, swelling to 34 cases in 13 days. 5 separate households are now linked to this outbreak across Hallam, Clyde, Narre South and Cranbourne North.
But we've also seen in this particular cluster visiting of houses beyond the 5k radius.
It appears the cluster might be contained. None of today's 45 new cases relate to it, but today's overall tally is 17 more than yesterday's. Despite this, our 14-day rolling average continues to fall, down to 42.7.
We clearly need to make sure that we get a ring around these cases to stop onward transmission.
The cluster involves illegal activity, but our Premier says there is little value in throwing the book at the families now. Instead, we need to know exactly where they've been.
Write that up as hard or soft or whatever they want to say. No fine, frankly, would ever equate to how valuable the information that person gives to us.
One of the locations is Fountain Gate Shopping Centre. Anyone who's been there recently needs to hear this.
There's no requirement for them to quarantine, but if they've been through there and they have any symptoms at all, we'd ask them to come forward for testing.
To every community, not just our multicultural community, but every community, get tested early and come forward, and there'll be no blame attached to it.
Mystery cases are down from 83 yesterday to 73 today. Contact tracers are working with rideshare and taxi drivers who live or work in Casey and Dandenong. It seems to be working. No recent cases have been traced back to transport. The Premier says it matters little where we live or where we're from. Staying at our homes and out of others is critical.
No one gets a pass from this. Everyone's got to follow the rules. You have to do it, because if you don't, you'll be spreading it.
7 News understands some of those illegal home visits relate to babysitting, parents dropping their kids at a relative's house on their way to work. 2 people in that cluster are in hospital tonight, and as far as the Fountain Gate risk factor goes, authorities say not everyone who's been here recently needs to get tested, only those showing symptoms. Mike?
Blake, thank you. Now to Jade Vincent in Dandenong, which is one of the suburbs of most concern to authorities. Jade, a specialist response team has been set up there.
Yes, Mike, the Premier says every resource is being thrown at containing this outbreak in the southeast. Across Casey and Dandenong, 4 additional testing sites were set up today. We saw a really strong focus on building more community awareness. So Monash health professionals and representatives from local community groups were out chatting to locals, encouraging them to get tested if they've shown any symptoms. The government says that the contact tracing team is up to the task of managing this outbreak. 75% of interviews conducted with positive cases occur within 4 hours.
Increasing our contact tracing approach such that we can integrate local community knowledge with the expertise and wisdom of our public health team. Sometimes people are a bit concerned that they might get COVID if they come to a testing site, and I can reassure you that is not the case.
The pop-up clinics we saw in Dandenong today are easily accessible, both walk-up and drive-through near shops and the train station. But the Premier hasn't ruled out deploying those mobile testing vans in residential streets. Mike?
Jade Vincent live in Dandenong, thank you. It's rare to hear from AFL legend Gary Ablett Sr, but he's gone public with an extraordinary message on COVID. The 58-year-old recluse recording a rambling 27-minute video and posted it online.
Behind the wheel, Gary Ablett Sr delivers a car seat sermon to explain COVID-19.
I feel a little bit compelled and motivated to just come out and say some things that really need to be said concerning our current circumstances, not just in Victoria, but in the world, who's really behind it and what they're up to.
The Geelong Greats' devotion to Christianity, well documented.
We are definitely in the last days leading up to the second coming of Jesus Christ. This virus was deliberately made and designed and deliberately released by these people because they're using it as camouflage for their many globalist agendas, including their main one is to crash the global economy.
A 27-minute YouTube video, the latest chapter in the troubled life of one of the game's greatest ever players.
And give your heart to Jesus Christ and get saved and have had the eternal security, and then you don't have to be in fear, you don't have to stress.
Jodie Lee, 7 News.
Police are out in force at checkpoints across Melbourne tonight as school holidays begin. Estelle Greepink is at Little River. Estelle, traffic queues there have backed up for kilometres.
Well, Mike, there were delays of up to 10 kilometres down the road this morning, and there are still some here tonight. Police have checked more than 24,000 cars in the last 24 hours, and they've also issued 4 of those new $5,000 fines to Melburnians who are trying to cross into the regions. Tourist locations have opened up for school holidays, but only a select few will be able to enjoy them. John and Leah Cody have been looking forward to this moment for months.
Cheers.
Cheers. Kicking back in their Ocean Grove caravan, a welcome change from their home in Ballarat.
Oh, we're so excited. We haven't been here for months, probably since it all first started back in March.
School holidays start tonight, but there are still plenty of vacancies because no one from Melbourne is allowed to hit the road.
The phone's been ringing a bit today, so that's good.
Well, once Melbourne come out of lockdown, we'll get up on Melbourne back.
Turnover at the Ocean Grove Holiday Park is down 90%, and it's a similar story right across town. Accommodation providers open for business, but with only a handful of visitors. Geelong is easing out of restrictions, but the local adventure park must stay closed until their COVID-safe plan is approved.
We're super excited. We have over 300 people we employ locally, so it's critical to us and the local community that we can be open.
There's better news for tourist spots in the north of the state around Rutherglen and Beechworth, taking baby steps out of lockdown.
Nothing like back to normal, nothing like it, but it's the first sign that we're going to start to be able to say we're recovering, and that's a huge lift, I think.
Gridlock at checkpoints is delaying travel times by as much as 2 hours, keeping regional Victoria virus-free and Melbourne families with school children at home these holidays.
If you don't have good reason to be in regional Victoria, you just can't be there.
Estelle Greepink, 7 News.
The Mornington Peninsula Shire Council is pleading with the Premier to release them from Stage 4 restrictions. The Peninsula is included in the Metro Melbourne lockdown despite having only 2 active cases. That's lower than Geelong. The council says they've reached the trigger point to progress to the next step of the roadmap, and keeping them in lockdown is having a significant economic and mental health impact on the local community. There's fresh hope that Australians left in limbo overseas will soon be able to come home after National Cabinet lifted the cap on international arrivals. It came as the federal government agreed to provide more defence personnel for hotel quarantine.
For the 24,000 Australians stranded overseas, some good news.
I would hope that we can get as many people home, and if not all of them, by Christmas.
The state's agreeing to expand hotel quarantine to take an extra 1,600 return travellers each week, a total of 5,600. New South Wales, Queensland and WA an extra 500 each, South Australia 100.
There's some disagreements about that, and there are issues raised in terms of the step up.
Issues that were resolved. The states will get more ADF help to supervise quarantine, but returning travellers will still have to pay the hotel costs themselves. And a breakthrough on tracing. The states agreeing to connect their digital systems so close contacts of infected people can be traced across borders.
What we've seen is a lifting of the bar with the tracing capacity, and we welcome that in Victoria.
And a $2 billion extension of telehealth services to March.
This is a major commitment.
Continuing Medicare subsidised video and phone consultations and home deliveries of medications.
The further 6 months extension is vital. It's welcome and it's supported.
And the government's announced those people receiving Job Seeker will now have to seek double the jobs, except those under lockdown in Victoria. From September 28, required to actively seek 8 jobs a month and accept suitable work offers, with those unemployed for more than a year again required to work for the dole.
There are jobs there and they're gradually coming back.
Labor wanting the job seeker base rate increase confirmed next month.
The permanent decision should be in the budget.
It's more likely, though, to come in the next budget in May. Mark Riley, 7 News.
Queensland will open its borders to ACT residents next Friday. The Sunshine State is hoping to encourage Canberra families to spend school holidays there. There have been no COVID cases in the ACT for more than 60 days. South Australia has also opened its borders to Canberrans. Victoria's top detectives are stepping up the investigation into the mystery disappearance of 2 campers. Russell Hill and Carol Clay went missing in our high country 6 months ago. Among the theories, police believe they may have been killed by a hunter or shooter.
Russell Hill and Carol Clay vanished during a camping trip to the remote Wonnangatta Valley in the Victorian Alps 6 months ago. Police feared they were killed and are now focusing on a number of theories.
It being what I would call a reckless accident, so maybe a shooter or a hunter or even a four-wheel drive, been engaged in some reckless activity which has caused an accident and then there's been a cover-up.
Or something more sinister.
Just a wanton and violent criminal act. We don't know.
Overseas and interstate experts are now helping the Victorian detectives.
This, investigation has been quite unique to us in a number of ways because of the remoteness of the area, lack of what you might say conventional avenues of inquiry. So we've really had to think outside the square.
The pair set off on March 20. A day later, their campsite was found burnt out.
One of the key things that makes this whole thing suspicious, when you add the fire to the fact that 2 people are missing, to me that's what elevates it more into the suspicious category.
Mr Hill's drone is still missing.
My firm belief is that there's been third-party involvement somehow. Whichever scenario you look at, whichever theory you consider, there'd have to be some third-party involvement.
The extensive land and air search for the pair was paused for a few months because of the weather, but with the seasons changing, the search is resuming and detectives believe it will lead them to more clues.
Things could have changed and things that were concealed previously 6 months ago may not be concealed now.
Detectives are confident they'll find answers for 2 desperate families.
Not only the grief of having lost a loved one, but it's the grief of not knowing as well.
Cassie Zervos, 7 News.
The AFL may face hundreds of concussion claims after historic insurance payout to a former high flyer. Sean Smith was awarded $1.4 million because his head injuries will prevent him from working ever again. Nick McCallum has the details.
Music is soothing for Sean Smith. His holy grail, a $1.4 million insurance payout.
This is going to take a lot of stress off and it'll help me move forward. Obviously, I've got a lot of living to do.
He took the mark of the century.
Terrible luck there for Sean Smith.
But also suffered concussions which triggered severe depression. Last year, he had suicidal thoughts.
I was sitting in a mental hospital, basically crying my eyes out for the first 3 or 4 weeks I was in there.
Sean's insurance company considered his injuries so debilitating he'll never work again.
There can be no longer a denial from the AFL that concussions cause permanent damage.
Lewis! A precedent which may trigger big payouts to others, even from the AFL itself.
It could be between $1 to $2 billion.
Giving hope to former Geelong and Essendon star John Barnes, also suffering concussion after effects.
If that doesn't sort of put the cattle prodder on them and shake them up a bit, then they've got some serious issues, because that's a massive wake-up call.
And Sean plans to donate some of his payout to researchers working on the long-term effects of concussion.
The funding that Sean is going to be able to provide us will go a long way.
I'm one of many players out there that are really doing it tough.
Nick McCallum, 7 News.
Brave on the field, even braver off.
Absolutely, yeah.
Jackie Felgate is here, and Jack, it's been a day of brutal AFL cuts.
It has indeed, Mike. North Melbourne ended Majak Daw's comeback dream when it delisted 11 players in a matter of hours. Tom Brown is at the Gabba. Tom, Daw is the highest profile casualty.
Jackie certainly has Daw very gracious this afternoon online, thanking the club for being the first African player to play AFL, thanking North Melbourne for the opportunity. But he had company, Jack, 11 players, including McMillan, Peter Ahern, Wood and Williams, and I believe there'll be more to follow. There's 5 or 6 more players out of contract. Ben Brown, a mutual agreement there that he can explore options. Polek, it's up to him, but again, if he finds a club, he could leave. And an interesting one, Sean Higgins. North do not want to lose Higgins, Jack, but I think Geelong's interested next year as a potential replacement if Gary Ablett retires. It'll depend on how Geelong go, but big changes, big rebuild at North Melbourne. It's all started today under Rhys Shaw.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Tom. And Woosha isn't going quietly, Mike. John Worsfold has had a bit of a crack at his critics before his last game. I'll have plenty more in sport.
There's a lot going on in the AFL. Thanks, Jack. Anti-lockdown protesters are preparing for another weekend of disruption. Tegan Doling has the details.
Mike, they're keeping protest details a secret, but police say they'll be ready. Details next.
A truckie on the run after an Eastlink rollover. Russia's poison plot twist, why the focus is now on a hotel water bottle. And the Middle Park break-in that really was a dog act.
This is the All-You Monty! Sunday, they take to the stage.
I feel totally out of my depth.
It's not going to happen.
Is this the year one of them doesn't go? The Full Monty.
Don't miss the biggest moment of television this year. The All-New Monty, Guys and Gals. Sunday at 7 on 7.
Tonight, I'll be eating a chicken kebab with extra hot sauce.
For training purposes, you cannot beat a bowl cut.
What have you done? Thanks.
People are going to think we're sisters.
Switch gives you the power to pick your promo. This Saturday in races 1 to 4 at Caulfield, Randwick and Gold Coast, choose whether to double your winnings or get bonus back if your horse finishes 2nd or 3rd. Ladbrokes. Back yourself.
Geeks to you saved my life.
Actually, I just saved all these photos. This PC had a virus.
Geeks to you set up, synced up and sorted out my world.
Well, her IT world at least.
With our new improved download speed, we're streaming every night.
Is there no end to their problem-solving powers?
If there is a problem we can't fix, you don't pay.
They may be geeks to you, but they're miracle workers to me.
Call 1300 Geeks to You and we'll come to you.
The Nick Scali Spring Sale is online now. Save up to 40% on a great range of selected items. Add style and comfort to your home. Shop safely with Nick Scali. Online now.
Narrow the field with Ladbrokes Easy Form. Place a form-driven multi or single bet without having to study a guide. Available on all Australian and New Zealand thoroughbred greyhound and harness races. Ladbrokes. Back yourself.
Here you are. Your first step into the unknown. Maybe you don't know what it's like to be the most powerful person in the room, or the most wanted person on the planet. Maybe you don't know what it takes to lead a team, carry a dream, be the Pope, or the other Pope. Maybe you don't know how it feels to have your love revealed, or learn to love yourself. Maybe you don't know what it's like to live life behind bars for a crime you didn't commit, or how it feels to lose your world, flip your world, or run the world. There's a lot you may not know, but that's exactly what makes a story worth watching. Because in the end, we're only one story away.
Anti-lockdown activists are threatening 2 mass gatherings this weekend. Tegan Doling joins us now. And Tegan, they're deliberately not sharing their plans for the protest.
That's right, Mike. Last weekend, the protest was held here at the Queen Victoria Markets, but the organisers won't reveal the upcoming venues until 30 minutes prior to the protest. Their reasoning, they want to catch the police by surprise. It seems the risk of fines and possible jail time is not deterring this crowd, who are once again vowing to cause chaos. We understand there will be 2 protests, one tomorrow at midday and another, they're calling it a flash protest, on Sunday at 1 p.m. The opposition leader joining the Premier in an appeal to the public just to do the right thing.
Please stay home, go in your backyard, enjoy the sunshine, pull out some weeds. Don't put our progress at risk.
Last weekend, the police arrested 70 people. They handed out 170 fines. And Mike, they say they will be out in force again, taking the same swift action they have the last couple of weekends.
OK, Tegan Doling, thank you. A truck driver is on the run after a collision with a concrete mixer on Eastlink this morning. The impact forced the concrete mixer to roll and left its 30-year-old driver with minor injuries. It happened near the Ferntree Gully Road exit. Anyone who spots the wanted truck with registration PUU011 should call police. A new theory's emerged in the attempted assassination of Russian President Vladimir Putin's biggest critic. Traces of poison were found on a water bottle from the hotel room where Alexei Navalny stayed before falling ill.
In a hotel room in Siberia, members of Alexei Navalny's campaign team wearing rubber gloves act as crime scene investigators. The new video posted on Instagram was taken within an hour of this emergency landing in August after Russia's opposition leader fell gravely ill. Navalny's colleagues suspected an attack. Unwilling to trust authorities, they rushed to the hotel, seizing evidence, sneaking it out of the country to Germany, where scientists found traces of nerve agent Novichok on a plastic water bottle. This is significant, says his campaign manager. If the bottle was thrown out or taken, we wouldn't know how Alexei was poisoned. Originally, they thought it was this cup of tea. The Putin critic is now out of a coma. The Kremlin denies any involvement. The European Parliament is demanding EU leaders impose tough sanctions on Russia, saying the attempted assassination is part of a systemic effort by Vladimir Putin to silence any dissident voices. Calling for an international investigation as Navalny plans his return to Russia. In London, Sarah Greenhalgh, 7 News.
Hundreds of people have been rescued in the wake of Hurricane Sally in the US, with teams tonight searching through the damage to ensure no one's left behind. Already flooded areas in Florida and Alabama now face a new threat from swollen rivers and the creatures who live in them.
He is going into the neighbor's driveway. This is why we don't want to go outside out here on the island.
Yeah, no kidding. The weakened system is moving north, creating tornado warnings and more flooding. The hunt is on for 3 thieves and a pet dog accused of breaking into a Middle Park business. They can be seen here on Erskine Street last Friday night around 7:30 p.m. Anyone who saw a red Toyota in the area is urged to contact police. The business was also targeted in March. Melina Saris joins us now, and Mel, the humidity is starting to build.
It is, Mike. It will feel quite tropical this weekend as air is pushed towards us from Queensland. Outside now in the city, though, it has dropped a little, sitting on 15 degrees out there. The temperatures rose today thanks to that humidity. After a low of just 8 degrees, the city made it to 18.7 this afternoon, and it stayed dry all day. Geelong has had a little bit of drizzle and almost made it to 18 as well. On the satellite, a high over the Tasman is directing that humid air from Queensland to us. A low and a trough combine to bring heavy rainfall and damaging winds to parts of the state tomorrow. And I'll have all those details after sport, Mike.
OK, Mel. See you then. Thank you. Gym owners are staging a fight back against the lockdown. Up next, why they say they should be open right now, not in weeks. Plus, Donald Trump in more trouble over his COVID vaccine promise. A baby among 8 people saved from a sinking boat. And a young woman who's just picked up $60 million.
I need to be more straight with you. But you're not going to love what I have to say.
You're starting to scare me.
Believe me, I haven't even begun.
You don't have to be alone.
It would mean the end of your career. And my marriage.
I knew that if I'd have to choose, I would lose you. And I couldn't.
The greatest week of home and away in years.
I love you, Sig.
Next week on 7.
Where have all the good funds gone? Why do they do us wrong? I want a fund that fights for me against the rising odds. I need a zero! I'm holding up for a zero, cause an increase ain't right. 2020's been tough, we've all had enough. Don't settle for a quacker shot. HBF's got a zero!
Switch gives you the power to pick your promo. This Saturday in races 1 to 4 at Caulfield, Randwick and Gold Coast, choose whether to double your winnings or get bonus back if your horse finishes 2nd or 3rd. Ladbrokes, back yourself.
At Spotlight, save more at our spring sale with 40% off O'Reilly curtains and blinds, 40% off all Furwood Venetian blinds, 40% off made-to-measure indoor blinds and shutters, so you can open it, hang it and keep it warm for less. Sale on now. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
It's a beautiful morning. Wake up, get up, it's a beautiful day. Wake up, get up, it's a beautiful morning. Shining bright for you and me.
The Nick Scarley Spring Sale is online now. Save up to 40% on a great range of selected items. Add style and comfort to your home. Shop safely with Nick Scarley. Online now.
Collect your story of memorable firsts at Pandora.
Ready to make the switch? If you've got to download a new app today, go with the one that will stay the distance. The betting choice is easy. Ladbrokes. Back yourself.
Fifi, Teddy, Janice, Ruffles.
Dog people really, really like dogs. And they really want to keep them healthy.
Hercules.
Simparica Trio is a tasty monthly chew that provides triple protection against fleas and ticks, intestinal worms, and deadly heartworm. So, if you're a dog person, you're a Simparica Trio person too. Available at vets and pet barn stores.
The fitness industry is putting up a fight after the state government backflipped on its decision to reopen gyms next month. The revised roadmap won't see facilities open until late November. prompting leaders to write an open letter to the Premier.
Roger Moore has walked through these doors most days for the past 15 years, but now his only exercise is strolling past them.
Going to the park on your own, it's not quite the same. The fitness has probably dropped off a bit.
Under the roadmap out, gyms were supposed to reopen on October 26, but in another blow, the state government now claims they'll be shut until the end of November because they're deemed high risk. Prominent gym owner Tony Doherty vented his frustration on social media.
And I have to speak up yet again.
Arguing gyms are both an essential service and safe. His Brunswick warehouse is set up with hand sanitizer and clearly zoned for social distancing.
In New South Wales, the gyms have been reopened now for 8 weeks. They've had 7.1 million check-ins and no cases of community transmission.
In an open letter to Daniel Andrews, industry heavyweight Barry Elvish highlighted the serious physical and mental toll of the lockdowns. Please engage with me so that we can together work out suitable arrangements to reopen in a safe and hygienic way by or before 26 October, as per your roadmap. Industry leaders argue most gyms are ready to reopen safely, with member check-ins and CCTV to help with contact tracing. And they're frustrated there's been no consultation by government.
Where are they getting their stats from, and how can we be consulted so that we do get it right?
This afternoon, government advisors agreed to meet with industry leaders in the coming days. Christy Mayer, 7 News.
A former White House advisor has publicly turned on Donald Trump over his handling of the pandemic. Olivia Troy has turned star witness for the opposition, claiming the president didn't care about people getting sick.
It's country over party.
Defecting from her party, turning on the president she served.
The truth is, he doesn't actually care about anyone else but himself.
Olivia Troy sat alongside Vice President Pence advising the White House coronavirus task force until now.
If he could actually made an effort to tell how serious it was, he would have slowed the virus spread. He would have saved lives.
I never met her, to the best of my knowledge.
President dismissing the attacks.
She wrote a beautiful letter, as I understand it, a letter praising the administration. But then the people get a hold of her and say, let's say some bad things about Donald Trump.
From a car park in Scranton, Pennsylvania, a COVID-era town hall for the man hoping to take the reins in America's health crisis.
Last Friday, we had 1,000 deaths. All of Canada had 0 deaths. This president is doing it all wrong. We need to make a fundamental change in the way we're moving.
Moving forward will mean finding a vaccine. After the president suggested one might be ready before the election, 2 of the 3 companies leading the race took the rare step today of releasing details about exactly how the trials are working.
We care deeply that this vaccine is trusted by the public, by clinicians and nurses around the country, so it is used.
In the United States, Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
4 children and 2 women have managed to run to safety as their house was destroyed by fire in the Yarra Ranges. Firefighters were called to the 3 Bridges property around midnight. No one was injured. The blaze is being treated as suspicious. Racing emergency crews have collided with deadly force in New York. A fire truck T-boned an ambulance as both vehicles rushed through an intersection. A heart attack patient in the ambulance was killed while his sister, who was sitting with him, was left with critical injuries. 6 firefighters and 2 paramedics were hurt and 2 people in another car were injured too. Investigators are looking into whether scaffolding obstructed the view of both drivers. An 8-month-old boy is among 8 people pulled from the open ocean after their catamaran sank off Queensland. It sparked a major air and sea search, with a passing cargo ship proving to be a lifesaver.
A fun day out on the water quickly turns into a full-scale rescue operation.
Here we are, being rescued. 80 kilometres down, 80 kilometres out.
Huddled on a small lifeboat, a family with their 8-month-old baby boy forced to abandon their sinking vessel, waiting for help to arrive.
There's a helicopter. Little fella, he slept all the way through it. Everyone's safe.
Just after 10, their 8-metre catamaran started taking on water off the coast of central Queensland.
Sinking vessel, Coast Guard Yeppoon on 22.
A rescue chopper soon overhead and a thumbs up made clear they were okay before being transferred onto a nearby bulk carrier.
We got a big cargo ship coming to rescue us.
We landed on the bulk carrier where myself and the CCP, the critical care paramedic, went out, assessed the patients, deemed they were all right.
Rescuers have praised the family, who they say was well prepared for this exact scenario.
Could have been an absolutely different story, that a life jacket for each person, suitable for them as well, and that they had a current registered EPIRB.
If we didn't have any of that, we'd still be sitting out there floating in the water.
Evan Batten, 7 News.
A young Sydney woman is $60 million richer after taking out Powerball's entire jackpot prize. The lucky winner, in her 20s, initially thought it was a prank, then broke down in tears when she received the news. She says she'll pay off her debts, help her family and buy a house. The winner's wish list also includes an overseas trip when travel is allowed. Don't we all? A piece of Don Bradman history is under threat tonight. Up next, it helped him become Australia's greatest cricketer. Now it could be demolished by developers. Plus, the Aldi toy recall all parents need to know about. A British charity superstar's surprise confession about his life. And the free way to keep the kids entertained these school holidays.
Camping with friends. It was the perfect escape. They walked off into the wilderness and never returned. Vanished without a trace. This TV will be the key that turned a missing persons case into murder. Crime Investigation Australia, Sunday 8:30 on 7.
When you sign up your electricity and gas to an eligible AGL residential plan, you can get up to $100 in credits. That's $50 on electricity and $50 on gas. Call us on 131 189 or search AGL Energy to join today.
That's the one for you.
There's too many choices. I'm going to filter through these fillies fast.
You know you can select more than one filter.
Find your perfect match to your form preferences with Ned's Filter Form. Take it to the Ned's level.
Your home means more than ever, and so does having the right home loan. To understand your options, go straight to Aussie. We'll help ensure you have the right loan for right now.
Today's pace can take a toll. It's why we developed Panadol Rapid, absorbed 2 times faster than regular Panadol tablets, and why every positive change can make a difference. Together, let's rethink care.
The Royal Melbourne Hospital Home Lottery has sold out early once again. On October 21st, there will be over 15,000 winners, and one of them will be living mortgage-free in this stunning Matsay home in Glen Iris. Thank you, Victoria, for your incredible support. You can feel proud knowing that your support is advancing health for all Victorians. At the Royal Melbourne, we're always there when it matters most. Thank you to everyone who purchased a ticket, and best of luck in the draws.
The bestest picnic ever. Mum and Gran will be there. And there's magical fairies. And gigantic sandwiches. Then it starts raining fairy bread. Yeah! Melody!
Don't be stuck with an old fridge. Appliances Online has a huge range of top brands with price match guarantee, free next day delivery, free removal of old products and 24/7 Australian customer support. Visit appliancesonline.com.au for our legendary service.
Take spring racing to the Ned's level. Back a horse in any race at Caulfield this Saturday, and if it runs second or third, get up to $50 back in bonus bets. Take it to the Ned's level.
So, how do you hummus? There are so many ways to enjoy the hummus. At home, we add our own touch and share the hummus.
Whether you snack it, spread it or dip it, new hummus with Obella, of course.
There's been a fire emergency at a car wrecking yard in Melbourne's north. 10 vehicles went up in flames in Campbellfield just after 5 o'clock this afternoon. Firefighters managed to stop the blaze spreading. Locals are advised to keep their windows and doors closed as smoke is hanging over the area. Tony Abbott has been given an unfortunate lesson in the dangers of social media. The former PM had his personal information hacked after posting a photo of his Qantas boarding pass to Instagram. A tech expert said he was able to obtain Mr Abbott's phone number and passport details in just 45 minutes. It has prompted warnings over just how easily photos can be used for identity fraud. Aldi has recalled 3 products from a popular children's toy line over choking fears. The Jack and Jill Farm, Ocean and Jungle wooden block sets have small magnets which can fall off, creating suffocation risks for children under 3. The toys purchased between June 10 and September 9 should be immediately returned for a full refund. They were sold in the supermarket's special buys. His fundraising earned him a knighthood. Now there's a book and a possible movie deal. Captain Sir Tom Moore today launched his autobiography called Tomorrow Will Be a Good Day. And the 100-year-old has some thoughts about who should play him in a biopic.
The only person I can think of is David Beckham, because he is such a charming person. I've met him.
I can see the resemblance. The veteran has raised close to $60 million throughout the pandemic. He's the greatest batsman the world has ever seen. But tonight, the cricket pitch Sir Donald Bradman grew up on is under threat. It's set to be bulldozed for a property development, with locals hoping a court decision can save a piece of sporting history.
It is weathered now, cracked, discoloured, unloved by nature, but not by folklore. A boy from Bowral not only learnt his cricket here, it shaped a technique that would spawn Australia's most celebrated sporting life.
He had a unique grip, where his hands were essentially behind the bat, and that was to sort of protect his fingers from the ball bouncing up on the concrete.
The church owned this land at the turn of last century. Developers do now, and their plans to build a housing estate were thwarted in 2017 when it was heritage listed. They're fighting it in the Land and Environment Court.
Maybe requests that it be incorporated into the landscaping of the seniors development, which is 13 units.
It's important for Bowral, but also, as I said, for Australian cricket history.
The legend of Don Bradman very much transcends his freakish sporting ability. He started his Test career just before the Great Depression, and by the time it ended, Australia had endured that and World War II. Don Bradman represented hope. He made people feel good. The Bradman Museum does not want houses or even a shrine. The best tribute, they say, restore it and let other boys from Bowral have a bash.
That would be fantastic. That would be inspirational and a real legacy to Sir Donald Bradman, far more than, say, a house being built on it.
In Bowral, Robert Ovadia, 7 News.
Jackie Felgate's here with sport, and Jack, the Saints have destiny in their own hands tonight.
Oh, they do indeed, Mike. St Kilda can end its 9-year finals drought tonight. We're live inside the Gabba to get the final word ahead of the giant clash. Plus, parting words not to be missed as John Worsfold farewells the Bombers. A Melbourne Storm star caught up in a COVID breach. And who said the US Open would be tough as Patrick Reed makes a mockery of pre-tournament predictions.
This is it. The last round before the finals is a sudden death September showdown. Bang! Tonight, the Saints take on the Giants in an elimination battle royale. And tomorrow, when Brisbane face the Blues, can they make history and claim top spot on the ladder? Wow! Then, on a must-win Monday, how will it end when the Magpies clash with the Power? Starting tonight, go to the footy on 7.
Harvey Norman is here for Melbourne. Just pick up the phone and talk to your local team. Or you can chat to us online, anytime. We have all the essentials you need, including fridges, washers, kitchen appliances, laptops, home office accessories and more. Shop online at any time. You can pick up from your local store using contactless click and collect. It's safe, easy and free. Or stay in the comfort of home and take advantage of contactless delivery. Shop the essentials for your home at Harvey Norman.
Go! Fifi! Teddy! Janice! Ruffles!
Dog people really, really like dogs. And they really want to keep them healthy.
Hercules!
Simparica Trio is a tasty monthly chew that provides triple protection against fleas and ticks, intestinal worms and deadly heartworm. So, if you're a dog person, you're a Simparica Trio person too. Available at vets and pet barn stores.
don't let persistent joint and back pain stop you there. You've got Advil 12 Hour for fast and long-lasting relief of persistent pain for up to 12 hours with just one tablet. So you can do more for longer. Advil 12 Hour.
In a world full of flavour, don't let your denture leave you with bad breath. Try new Polydent Cleansing Wipes, our quickest and easiest way to refresh your denture for that super fresh feeling, at home or out and about.
Here at Lilydale, it's not easy raising Australia's favourite free-range chicken, but it sure is worth it. Lilydale.
Melbourne, we're here for you. Beacon's up to 50% off everything sale ends next Sunday. Our stores are closed, but you can shop online with delivery or click and collect from your local store. We're still open for our trade customers.
Hi, my name's Yanti Tarang. I am Deputy Medical Monitoring Manager at the MMS here in New Orleans.
What if you got the chance to thank the teacher who inspired you?
Gail gave me a lot of confidence to just open those doors, trust yourself, Yanti.
And how would they feel?
Oh my gosh! Hi, Gail!
You had moments when you doubted your ability to do anything. To see you now in charge of COVID hospitals, it's amazing.
Welcome back. St Kilda can book a spot in the finals for the first time since 2011 tonight. Tom Brown is inside the Gabba. Hello, Tom. The Saints have destiny in their own hands.
Jack, this is effectively a grand final for both sides. In some developing news, I can tell you there's some reasonably heavy rain falling here at the Gabba as we speak, which you'd expect to have some type of impact on the style of game tonight. I'll start with the Giants. Core left at the start of the week from their group to pursue free agency. That left the players shocked and disappointed. Jason McCartney, their footy manager, telling players earlier in the week, if you want out, well, ship out. It was very direct feedback. The Giants have had an interesting week themselves. As for St Kilda, their preparation's really been perfect. Dan Hanbury's back from this soft tissue issue. Jake Carlisle's back in the side tonight, effectively playing for his future in many respects. And they've got Jared Roughhead in their group, back in the coaching group tonight. What finals experience at the perfect time? I spoke to Brad Hill a short time ago.
Yeah, we all know what Hannes has done over his career. We know he's played in these big games, and he's going to be massive for us tonight. Even if he doesn't get a lot of the ball, we know his voice and communication out there, and his leadership's got to be massive for our group.
And Majak Daw taking his bad news today just so well delisted by North Melbourne. He said, I'd just like to thank this footy club for giving me an opportunity to be the first African to play in the AFL. It's something I will always hold close to my heart. He's an absolute credit, Majak Daw, taking that news today so well. North making 11 delistings. We'll have more on North's delistings throughout the weekend. That's going to have many and extensive trade implications, but so much to play for. It's like a grand final Friday night footy tonight for both these sides, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Tom. There will be no farewell for Eddie Betts tomorrow, with the much-loved Blue set to play on. We'll go live now to Chief Football Reporter Mark Stevens. Steve-O, this was always the likely outcome.
Yes, Jackie, Betts and the Carlton Footy Club pretty much have had a gentleman's agreement now for several months. His form did drop off, but was never really in doubt. So Eddie Betts goes on, which is great news for Carlton fans and fans of footy. More uncertainty at Essendon, though. Certainly some doubts surrounding Adam Sard. I believe tomorrow now likely to be his last game at Essendon. Melbourne's been mooted as a destination. You can add North Melbourne to the list of clubs chasing Adam Sard. It will definitely be John Worsfold's last game as coach of Essendon, and he was pretty passionate when he fronted the media today. Ever so subtly, John Worsfold called out the critics.
I know that I play and coach with everything I've got. I'm extremely passionate about anything I do, and I certainly care. I'm also an introvert, and I understand that this passion doesn't always come through.
In a prepared statement, he made it clear the passion was always bubbling inside.
I saw players hurting. I heard from supporters that were hurting. The club was hurting. I wanted to be part of the club bouncing back, to be part of footy being fun again at the Essendon Football Club. I had so much respect for the club that I joined to be part of that fight back.
He clarified post-match comments last week that riled club greats.
The reference was that It's hard work to win a premiership, and it doesn't happen overnight.
And backed in his successor, Ben Rutten, and the playing group.
I believe Ben has learnt and grown this year. I also believe really strongly in these young men I know so well. I respect that there will be those who don't share my confidence. The future will reveal the reality, and I'm looking forward to watching that.
But will Joe Danaher be part of that future?
I have some unique talents, but that's not reading people's minds is not one of them.
Mark Stevens, 7 News.
Finals-bound teams are thinking outside the square to get their players accustomed to Queensland's super slippery conditions. Collingwood and the Bulldogs are leading the charge.
As if 2020 wasn't strange enough, buckets of water mixed with baby oil, now the latest training accessory for footy clubs in Queensland, as players struggle to adjust to the dew factor up north.
But yeah, so we plan to do that over the past week. We'll probably do it again tomorrow when we're up there at our captain's run.
The equation is simple for the Bulldogs this Sunday: win and they're finals bound. Lose and it could be season over.
If we don't win this weekend, then it'll be a huge missed opportunity. So the stakes are high.
Eastern Wood set to return against the Dockers from a hamstring injury. The stakes are also high for Geelong.
And it is really clear for us. We need to not only play well, but we need to win to finish top 4.
Joel Selwood, Gary Rowan and Jack Stephen all set to take on Sydney, along with Gary Ablett for his first game in 2 months.
I think the reduced game time helps ease him in, compared to previous seasons. Now, objective measures point to him being in better shape than he was last time he played with us.
Ruckman Reece Stanley won't play, but is a lock to return for week 1 of the finals, according to the Cats. Andrew McCormack, 7 News.
Melbourne Storm has been caught up in a COVID protocol breach. Forward Christian Welch invited a guest into their Sunshine Coast resort before midnight last night, which is when the team was due to come out of a 14-day quarantine.
Goes without saying, we're incredibly disappointed. I know the players really upset, really upset.
He's been stood down from the side to take on the West Tigers tomorrow night. It was predicted to be tough, but 21 players still broke par in the first round of the US Open. Navigating around the greens at Winged Foot requires a lot of creativity, which Zach Johnson was able to do on the first hole.
Do it. Do it. Come on, baby. How about that? Unreal.
Unreal. Patrick Reed showed how to avoid the greens with just the third hole in one at the course in US Open history. He's one off leader Justin Thomas at 5 under. Adam Scott and Cameron Smith are among the best placed Aussies at 1 over par. Star jockey Damien Oliver will celebrate 30 years almost to the day since his first Group 1 win at Caulfield tomorrow. Oliver can book a spot in the Caulfield Cup on the Danny O'Brien-trained Order of the Garter in the Naturalism Stakes.
He needs to win tomorrow. If he happened to win, I think he'd be an excellent chance in the Caulfield Cup. He's a really well-performed European horse.
The top 3 runners in the MRC Foundation Cup will donate a total of $35,000 in prize money to charity. Tomorrow's racing is live and free on 7. The Celtics have coughed up a 17-point lead against the Miami Heat in Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Jimmy Butler came up with 2 big defensive plays late in the last quarter to help Miami charge home to a 106-101 win and take a 2-0 lead in their series. And of course, the Saints and the Giants tonight, huge stakes, Mike. It's all live and free over on 7 Mate from 7 p.m.
Everybody loves the Saints. Let's hope they knock off the Giants.
I think our hearts are all with St Kilda.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jack. Now, here's a way to keep the children entertained in lockdown these school holidays. Otterly cute pups can now be viewed from the comfort of your own home 24 hours a day. Melbourne Zoo has set up an otter live stream. The 4 pups were born in February to parents Paula and Odie. Very cute. Melina Saras is next with the forecast. And Mel, how's the weekend looking?
Well, Mike, warm, sunny and humid in Melbourne, but rain is on the way for other parts of the state. I'll have all those details next.
My name is Hercule Poirot.
Agatha Christie's greatest whodunit reimagined.
There is a murderer among us.
Murder on the Orient Express, tonight on Mate.
Harris Scarf stock take sale has arrived. Enjoy a big 40 to 60% off homewares in Manchester, 30 to 50% off clothing, footwear and underwear, and 20 to 30% off electrical. Ends 4th of October. Shop great brands at great prices in-store or online.
Make a date with the AFL. For this Thursday and Friday's games, place a 3 or more leg same game multi, and if you miss by 1 leg, get a bonus bet back up to $50. Tab. Long may we play.
Gamble responsibly.
Your local still dealer is here to help you take on spring. With battery trimmers from only $179 and blowers from only $199. Find your local dealer at stilldealers.com.au.
Did you know you can take even more control over your hay fever, preventing symptoms before they even start? Try new Telnasal Allergy Spray. With anti-inflammatory properties, Telnasal's active ingredient mometazone binds to receptors in the nasal cavity. This helps prevent hay fever symptoms including congestion, runny noses and sneezing. For more control over your hay fever, prevent it before it starts. Try new Telnasal Allergy Spray. This has been Medifax for new Telnasal.
The Nick Scali Spring Sale is online now. Save up to 40% on a great range of selected items. Add style and comfort to your home. Shop safely with Nick Scali. Online now.
Make a date with racing this Saturday at Randwick and Caulfield for races 1 to 6 with Tab. If your horse runs second or third, get a bonus bet back up to $50. Tab. Long may we play.
Gamble responsibly.
To the early morning chef whose turn to eat is long overdue. The executive sandwich maker who's as at home doing lunchboxes as business deals. The self-taught nutritionists who are also illusionists. The impromptu party caterers. And the sleepy last order takers. Thank you for making every meal special and every day better.
She doesn't know this, but I've set up my phone so I can see where she is at all times. But that's only because
Sometimes I forget things and he can get pretty mad, but it's only because...
There's no excuse for abuse.
Mount Franklin Lightly Sparkling. Water with more wow.
Fresh tomatoes that are simply bursting with flavour.
Doesn't get any fresher than this.
But how do farmers do it? Graham will show you how. Secret tips straight from the farm, straight to your backyard. And right now, it's tomato time.
The timing is perfect.
New Better Homes, next up on 7.
There's a reason we say nobody knows Melbourne.
A weakness has been exposed.
Like 7 News.
Definitely a true Aussie battle.
Deeply worried.
Melbourne's best team.
Tracking better than expected.
More than $60 million.
Our job is to report to you, for you, every night.
Nobody knows news like 7.
Hello again. It's been another grey day across Melbourne and that humidity is starting to build. It helped the city's temperatures to rise from 8 degrees to 18.7 this afternoon. Outside now sitting on 14 degrees and it won't fall any further. That is our overnight low. It's been cloudy throughout the suburbs and we've had just some patchy drizzle moving through mainly over the northern and the western suburbs like Avalon and Essendon. Geelong got to 18 degrees. It was 19 in Watsonia. Scoresby and Frankston both got to 20 degrees. We've had grey skies and this patchy rain moving across the state, but it's only delivered around 2 millimetres to most areas. We've had some very warm temperatures in the Mallee, up to 30 degrees in Mildura, 27 at Swan Hill. Most other areas made it to the high teens. On the satellite, a high moves over the Tasman Sea and that is bringing humid air from Queensland straight to us. But a significant system moves in tomorrow. A deep low over South Australia continues east tonight. That will dissipate tomorrow as an associated trough enters the west of the state later in the day. So tomorrow, rain and thunder will spread through parts of the Wimmera and the northern country. We could see heavy rain and large hail, but Melbourne should remain dry throughout the day as the shower band spreads east overnight on Saturday. That will be a windy event as well as severe weather warning for damage damaging winds has been issued for Saturday afternoon and evening. Areas which may be affected include Stawell, Ararat, Kyneton, Ballarat and Dalesford. Around the nation for tomorrow, warm and partly cloudy in Brisbane, a shower or two in Sydney, rain and a possible storm for Adelaide and showers in Perth. But in Victoria, this band of rain and scattered thunderstorms will develop over the northwest tomorrow morning, and that will extend statewide during the afternoon and evening. The Mallee, Northern Country and the Wimmera could have large hail, damaging winds and heavy rainfall. It will be warm and humid with moderate north to northwesterly winds. We will see some areas jump into the mid-20s tomorrow. Closer in, the suburbs should stay dry throughout the day and it'll be warm and humid out there. A top of 25 degrees in Geelong and Watsonia. Yarra Glen getting up to 25 as well. A top of 26 for Scoresby. And this rain is expected to move in overnight. Humid in the city tomorrow from a low of 14. We're heading for a top of 25 degrees, staying dry throughout the day with a chance of showers at night. Those showers are expected to continue on Sunday morning before clearing. Top of 23. Showers easing on Monday, 20 degrees. Shower or two on Tuesday, 17. Showers again on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday with a top of 15 degrees. But humid and warm in the city tomorrow, a top of 25, and it has been raining at the Gabba in Brisbane tonight for the footy. It'll be around 20 degrees for the opening bounce, Mike.
OK, let's hope it helps the Saints. Thanks, Mel. And that's the latest from 7 News. For now, from the team, have a good weekend and good night.
I think she said